So, The Last of Us just finished up its first season this past Sunday on HBO Max, and I want to sit down and talk about my overall thoughts on season one, some strengths that I think the show had, and some issues that I did have as well. Real quick, guys, before we go into it, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys hit the like button as well. I know YouTube's been kind of weird as far as like notifications on subscriptions and all that, so just make sure you guys get yourself covered on that. And without further ado, man, let's get right into it.
I'm a Uchiha, I'm the new T.I. with a Bruce Levi, wearing blue Levi's, wearing new felines, get a UV net, where are you screenshot, where are you?
So overall, I did like the show. I did think this was a good adaptation, and I think this was a good show. I'm kind of in a box here because I don't want to talk about this just as a, adaptation of the game and start critiquing the game. I want to critique this mainly as its own property first. So I want to make sure I critique it of its quality as a show, and then kind of talk about my nitpicks with it, comparing itself to the game. I do think the action was definitely lacking. There was not a whole lot of action to cover this 9-episode trek that we go through with Joel and Ellie. There was a lot of downtime, not a lot happening. Really, what stuck out to me was the episode with Tommy. There was no infected. That episode. There was one infected, I believe, in the episode with Frank, episode 3. And it was just very, the show took a lot of its time with these deep emotional and dramatic moments, which is good. The show did a lot of the dramatic and emotional elements well, but my issue is that sometimes I would feel like we are running from the action. Like it started becoming a budget issue or something, which I know it wasn't. This is produced by HBO Max, so why are we not seeing more? For example, easily the best episode, in my opinion, would probably be, I believe, episode 4, where it was episode 4 or 5, the episode with Henry and Sam. That was easily my favorite episode. So excuse me, episode 5. Episode 5 was fantastic. You had the emotional drama. They still dealt with infected. But when they did deal with the infected, there was this big, large set piece. You would feel like it was terrifying seeing them all rise out of the ground. The bloater comes out. It's tanking bullets and all this. But we don't really get another sequence like that. The clicker scene in episode 2 was fantastic, but that's the only time we really see clickers. Like it's a real shame because the makeup department did such an excellent job on these prosthetics that they're putting on these actors, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, we're not using the tools that we were given. Why? It's almost like they were in a rush to make you cry or to make you feel something rather than get you riveted. And I understand, like, I'm not saying that the entire time I'm sitting here like, man, when's the next time a zombie's gonna die or da-da-da. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is we need to strike a balance, and I don't think the show struck the right balance. I think even Neil Druckmann talked about how next season there will be more infected, there will be more walkers. Walkers is The Walking Dead, but will be more infected. So we are gonna start kind of if we see the Rat King or the Shamblers, whatever like that, it'd be really, really cool to see. But I did definitely feel like it took its time in the wrong areas. Again, fundamentally, this is a good show. I'll probably give it like a B+ to a solid B. But man, at its worst, it was a slog, and it was really only the one episode. I believe it was episode 7. That episode was easily the worst. The pertaining Riley's flashback, that was so hard to get through. I don't know why they only restricted this season to 9 episodes. It was really strange as a decision. We should have had at least 12 or 13, but there was a lot of time in that 7th episode where I'm sitting here, I'm like, why am I here? Because as far as the overall story goes, nothing moved, nothing changed, nothing happened. Joel was just out for this episode. Now, the thing is why this really, really sucks is because if this was like a 13, 12 episode show or season, Joel's absence wouldn't have been felt as much. Still would have been felt, but when you take out a whole 9th of his presence, that hurts a lot, considering a lot of people want to see Joel. So when he's just sitting here and for a little bit of, half of the 8th episode and he's unconscious, it feels like, it can feel like he was barely in the show later on. Now, obviously that's not true. I'm just saying, like, as I'm watching this, I'm like, man, Joel wasn't in the past couple episodes. It kind of sucks because he's on the cover of the game and all that. So I'm like, what are we doing here? I don't know. Episode 7, man. I have no issue with the romance between Ellie and, you know, Riley. I don't care about that. It's just the whole time I'm watching this like preteen drama set in the apocalypse, which is fine. I understand what they were going for, because, you know, they're trying to preach the message about love and all of that. You know, that's what connects us. You know, that's a whole episode with Bill and Frank. Even Henry and Sam, like how tight they were as brothers. But man, just the one infected showing up and causing all this havoc, like you could have had at least 10, 15 and have them running, trying to get away and all this, and they scrap with this one. And it's so odd to me, because these kids are trained, like they're you know, obviously they're 14, 15, I think Riley might be 16, but they're supposed to be trained soldiers, but they can't handle this one that kind of snuck up on them. It was really odd to me, the decision to only just have the one infected. Really, ideally what I would have wanted is, you could have blended episode 8 and 7 if you really wanted to. Extend the runtime by about 45-ish minutes for episode 8, but you easily could do things happen as they naturally did, but you could put in these elements of the flashback. So every 10 or 15 minutes, you could start seeing the most important parts of the flashback. You cut out some of that fluff. You could see, you know, Riley meeting Ellie and all this, because we really don't need to see Ellie get, you know, this disciplinary action at the federal school. We don't need to see that. It's not like we understand that she's a hothead and that, you know, she is not really friends with kids her age. We already get this, so why are we seeing this again? And I have my own issues with the episode 3, because not for, you know, the fact that Frank and Bill were gay. I don't care about that. My issue was these two characters are dead. We're literally watching dead men's tales. How does this move the story forward? If Bill and Frank, you know, if Frank was in the worst condition he was possibly in, and Joel and Ellie get there and they kind of interact, which would have been cool to see, and then like a week or so or whatever, if Joel and Ellie are there and then they decide to take themselves out, but they, you know, have this conversation, then I would have felt a different kind of way about it. But like, why are you spending all this time with characters that I'm never only going to see for this one episode? Like Henry and Sam. I knew Henry and Sam were going to die, but we got a whole episode dedicated to them because they interacted with our main cast of characters. You know what I mean? The show is shot beautifully. There are a lot of great moments. The cinematography is great. Also, that was a real giraffe. It was freaking me out because I was looking at it and I thought it was real, but the CG that they used for the background, the green screen, was off because, you know, they were working with a giraffe, so they can't be like, oh, just move over here. So that was weird. But like the effects were really, really good. I'm just upset because there was so much we could have seen, but we didn't. Like in the game, you have Joel, you know, hitting motherfuckers with bricks and shivving them and all this stuff, but we really don't get to see hard ass Joel a lot. I mean, the first episode, you know, he beats the guy's face in, which is cool. We obviously have his, you know, rampage in the final episode, which I really liked how they did that. But man, Joel doesn't do a crazy amount in this show. There's not a lot of people to fight either. A lot of people had an issue as well with the university scene. The raid on it was only 4 guys. I believe it was only 4, maybe 5, but it was a whole shootout and all this stuff in the game. There's like 20, 25 guys in there. And I get there's some element of fantasy in there, but like as an audience enjoying the show, we're willing to suspend our disbelief a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you see Nightwing doing backflips and all this stuff, like jumping 20, 15 feet in the air, but we don't care. You know what I mean? So like seeing Joel and Ellie take on 20, 25 guys, I don't care. That's cool to see. I want to see that. You know what I mean? But you have 4 guys and Joel gets in a tussle with one of them and he gets stabbed like that. That's weak. I'm sorry. That's weak. It is. I think the acting is phenomenal. I think everybody understood the assignment. I don't have an issue with any of the actors. I know some people were being exceptionally rude to Bella Ramsey when she got cast as Ellie because she didn't look exactly how she looks. Some people were making some really disparaging comments, which is totally uncool. Don't do that. I shouldn't have to tell you that, but don't do that. You know, everybody was, you know, excited to see Pedro Pascal, but there were definitely some glaring issues. But overall, I would give the show about a B+. Man, you have this rich environment that you could have gone with, but it was almost like there was no danger with the infected. I didn't really feel like there was a lot of danger at any point. Again, the episode with Tommy, I was like, okay, cool. Episode 7, it's just the one infected. Who cares? Episode 9, only one infected again. Episode 8, there wasn't even there was none either. So why have this crazy outbreak decimated the world? Everyone's freaking out because episode 1 was fantastic. Episode 1 had everyone just like reeling from how good it was, and then you have so many miles of nothing, so many miles of no people, so many miles of no infected. It's just, this world feels empty. It felt empty a lot of the time. Some of the best moments also were the cold opens. I really enjoyed those cold opens. The first episode, they were introducing the concept of the cordyceps evolving and all that. That was really well done. Was it the second episode with the doctor in Jakarta? It was the second or third, not entirely sure, but that was really well done. I really liked that. It added to the world, but then we just like, there's so little infected that we see, man. It's crazy. And it's I don't want to keep ragging on it, keep ragging on the same point, but it's so disappointing. I would say either episode 8 is my favorite episode, because Bella Ramsey really showed how great she can act. Her screams when she was fighting David off of her were haunting. Just nothing short of haunting. Those are the episode with Henry and Sam got me. I cried definitely a couple times during the show. Really, the episode with Henry and Sam really got me because, I have little cousin family that are Sam's age and that look like him, so seeing that, and as a brother, I could not imagine doing something like that, dealing something with that. I wouldn't know what I would do in that situation. That got me. The first episode got me really bad, but this show definitely, do you feel like it was in a rush to tug at your heartstrings sometimes? I'm like, slow it down. Give me some action. Give me some cool shit to see, dude. I want to see some of that. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, the show was good. The show was good. Had some issues, but it's not bad. There's nothing bad about the show. It was just good. As far as video game adaptations go, it was certainly better than the Resident Evil project that just came out on Netflix or whatever. Certainly better than Halo. It's certainly better than the Assassin's Creed movie, I'll tell you that. Just, I wish they would have extended the episode count. And I think they even confirmed that season 2 will be a 2-episode or 2-season format, so that's good. Take your time. Show us the action, man. Show us some cool stuff, man. Let those makeup artists, let them do their work, because they did a phenomenal job with the clickers. They did a phenomenal job with the bloater scene, right? Like, show the danger. That's my thing. I don't have any issues with the acting. I don't have any real big issues with the voice lines or anything like that. I would just like more consequences. Obviously, I know Henry and Sam died. I know Riley died. I know Tess died as well. But I'm saying as far as like risks towards our main characters, that's really what I want. But yeah, that's about all I have as far as critiques for the show. I think season 2 can do better. I think season 2 can expound on certain things. But yeah, that's about all I have. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, man. How you guys feeling about this adaptation of The Last of Us? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? What are some things that you feel like they could have improved upon? How you think it feels compared to the game? Oh, before I end the video, one quick thing is also, considering we got Riley's flashback, I would have wanted to see some like flashbacks of like hard ass Joel, because there's like 20 so years of Joel, selling drugs and beating dudes up and people fearing him, but we didn't really get to see. We got to see protective Joel, but we didn't get to see a whole lot of Joel as a savage, as a monster. You know what I mean? He was way more reserved and quiet in this show as opposed to the game. But yeah, just let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, man. But that's about all I have for you. Thanks so much for joining me on this video. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, it's been your boy Daffy, guys. I will see you in the next video. All right, peace.